Turn off the music, eyes over here. It's time for the time out. This happens every day in the operating room at the start of every case. It's a mandated checklist read out loud to the team of surgeons and nurses and techs and anesthesiologists. We make sure to have the right patient, the right procedure, and that possible complicating issues are addressed. It's a moment to stop and reflect on our purpose for being there in that cold, bright room. Regular reflection works in the same way by checking in with your inner compass. Without taking moments to pause and reflect, you risk moving through life on autopilot. You drift further from what truly matters until one day you may look up and wonder how you got here. I'll walk you through why you get off track, the consequences of not checking in, and how to use simple reflection techniques to realign with what matters most. Find the full transcript and more resources for physician moms at inspiredmommds.com/53. You're listening to Inspired Mom MDs with host Cindy Van Prague, helping physician moms take back control and prioritize what matters most so they thrive in private practice and at home. Hi there, and thank you for joining me today. Welcome back to the Chart Your True North series, where I guide you on the journey towards what matters. The starting line is to pick a destination based on your core values, and then fuel up with self-care and set up road signs or boundaries to streamline your trip. If any of these topics pique your interest and you missed them, check out episodes 48 to 51. Now that you're on your way towards living a value-driven life, it's time to check your compass and stay on track. This is accomplished by regular reflection or checking in with your goals. The problem is that it's too easy to drift through life without awareness. Even with the best intentions, it can be easy to lose your way. Now, in the operating room, no one ever intends to miss a patient's allergy or perform the wrong surgery or harm anybody in any way, but it can happen. Mistakes happen when people pay less attention and operate on autopilot. The OR is a very time-driven place that's cold and loud and demanding. It's easy to get caught up in the urgency of getting cases done efficiently and on time. It's not just for hospital revenue, but for the sake of keeping patient procedures shorter, with less anesthesia exposure and faster time to the recovery room and ultimately to home. It can be easy to lose sight of what's important, supporting patient needs without any harm. This is why the timeout tool is so effective in realigning the entire staff in the room on their purpose. Well, this applies to personal life too. How many times does a week pass you by in a blur and you just can't remember the last time you took a moment for yourself? This happens week after week until some people realize they're living by default, not design. The things that matter deeply get buried under all these demands and obligations of life, though that was never their intention to begin with. So how do you realign with what matters most? When you have clarity on your priorities, you have a guiding star for your direction in your life. So checking in with reflection is a way to make sure you're still headed towards that star and not drifting off course. Episode 49 of Inspired Mom MDs was all about setting that direction and tuning into your core values and your beliefs to get clarity, if you want to check that one out. But now on to setting up your own timeout. I have 3 steps for you today. Step 1 is make your own timeout checklist. This is a method of reflecting on your list of values, just like the OR team did when they listed important items. Put together a short list of questions that prompt you to reflect, and it doesn't have to take long. It could be as simple as asking yourself, am I still on track with what's most important? But there are many other ways to check in also. Like you may say, what is pulling me away from what really matters to me right now? Pulling me away from my priorities? Or where in my life am I saying yes when I should be saying no? Or am I feeling energized, or am I just being drained by how I'm spending my time? Or if I keep going like this, where will I end up 6 months from now, or a year from now, or 5 years from now? I love this last question because it helps you visualize the future. Where will you be without making any changes if you just let yourself go on autopilot? Now you can ask yourself, well, where would you be if you do make some changes? And undoubtedly, you'll probably prefer the latter. Now, reflecting on these questions lead to follow-up discussions with yourself, right, as you start to ponder your present situation. So that leads me to step 2. So step 1 is to make your checklist, your timeout list. Step 2 is identify small adjustments. Now that you paused and identified possible different diversions from your true path, following your true values, you can make teeny adjustments to get back on track. So think, well, what's one small shift I can make today? It could be something like setting a new boundary on something that just doesn't align with what's important. It could be prioritizing rest and just maybe I'm going to get to bed 15 minutes earlier tonight, or I'm going to actually sit down and eat my lunch, not eat it while I'm walking around. Or let's see, what else? You may reclaim your time by reducing screen time. I've talked about this recently. Or a small shift could be changing perspective on something that you assume is true. For example, is this argument I'm having with my spouse truly need all my energy right now? These small adjustments are all the little things I talk about here at Inspired Mom MDs. They are different changes you can make when you have the spark and the energy and the drive to make them. They are course corrections, and that if you do them now, they prevent a major overhaul later. So now that you've made a list and you've started this internal dialogue with yourself and changes you might like to make, step 3 is to make this reflection a habit. Now, lately, I've been having this nagging feeling that I need to pause and reflect for myself, but I've been brushing it off. And honestly, I don't really have this habit yet. I don't have a set time, whether it's weekly or monthly, to just really check in with myself and consider what areas of my life are on autopilot. But then yesterday, I replaced an hour spot on my calendar with time just to reconnect to my true north and what I want to accomplish and who I want to impact in my life. And you know what? It was such a relief. I was glad to finally stop, number 1, ignoring my inner voice and stop just pushing forward with work and chores. And I was so relieved to allow that time to prioritize my sense of direction and help me prevent wasting time on things that don't matter. Every day there are things to do that seem all important, but do they really help you? My new goal is to schedule in time like I had yesterday. It doesn't have to be an hour, but I want to make it a habit, not just when I get to it sort of thing. Life will always have detours, but reflection helps keep you from getting lost. Reflective moments help you revisit core values and priorities and the things that matter most in your life. If you're on track to your destination, that's fabulous. Celebrate that milestone. But if things are running astray, how wonderful it would be if you caught it early when the small tweaks can help things get back on track. Today I talked about a way to do this by having your own timeout checklist to identify the issues and tweaks. And more importantly, as I'm striving to do, make timeout or reflection a habit. Make it part of your routine, much like it is part of the routine for the OR staff at the start of each new case. And don't forget to join me next week for the next topic in the Chart Your True North series, which is about managing roadblocks in your journey. Until then, take care of yourselves and take care of those who matter most. It's time to take control and thrive. Thank you for tuning in to Inspired Mom MDs. Please share with other physician moms and leave a review if you found value from this podcast.